Hey, this is Amy at Shea 106 in Ottawa.
Hey, Amy, it's Ryan from the Sheepdogs in Nelson and BC.
Thanks for making time to chat with us. Are you ready for my questions?
I am. Lay it on me.
Okay, the decision for you guys to get back out on the road. I got to ask what fueled that because you were one of the first bands back in action like as soon as they cut the pandemic ribbon limitation, like you were out there. So what was your number one push?
I mean, obviously, the number one push is we really miss doing what we do. I mean, this is, making rock and roll records and then being out on the road playing those songs for people is like what we do and what we've done for so many years. So when all that stuff kind of came to a brief or an abrupt halt in 2020, it was a huge bummer. I mean, we were about to go on like a cross Canada tour with the Black Keys. We had like a new record in the making, and we had all these tour dates on the books and all this kind of stuff. I mean, all that stuff that just sort of disappears. So, I mean, obviously we were raring to get back to it as soon as we were able to. And, so yeah, I mean, when in Toronto, when they finally lifted the restrictions and we were able to have an indoor show, we were actually like the first show to happen in Toronto. We did 4 nights, like 4 solo nights at Lee's Palace. That was incredible. I mean, the energy was amazing. Like everyone was just so excited to be back and having like that shared experience and all that, like being in a room with a bunch of people just enjoying music and what everyone was longing for. And then, we were sort of one of the first to go on tour as well. I mean, we started a tour in February of 2022, earlier this year. Last year, things were still locked down in Ontario in February, and we went to England and we did a UK tour, and we were one of the first bands to go on tour, back in England, which is amazing until all of us got COVID while we were
That's a given. Yeah.
Like we were like, this is amazing, this is the best, and then we all got COVID. So that sucked. I actually ended up being stuck in England for like 15 days because I wasn't able to fly until I tested negative, and I was like had no symptoms. I was just like positive and stuck in England. Everyone else was at home. That's just kind of part of the unique challenges that we're trying to make this work. But for us, it was so much of what we do is making music and then pairing that with the live performances. We wanted to get back to it as soon as they could, and cut to now. I mean, we have one more. Our last show is the upcoming show in Ottawa, and it'll be almost 100 tour dates on this sort of like world tour that had us go to Europe and England and all across North America, and it's been really great. It's been like a wild ride. It wasn't just like a switch flipped and there was no sort of changes or anything different. It's not like it's suddenly 2019 again or something like that. But it's been really amazing to get back, and it's been really amazing. The biggest takeaway I think is that energy that comes from people that are just so happy to be back at shows, back seeing concerts, back having that shared experience, and kind of being able to like revel in that every single night is a pretty amazing thing. And I think the feeling is very much mutual for us every single night too.
I think it was like Brian Johnson when he was being interviewed. He just like, this was like in the thick of the pandemic. They had put out their AC/DC's latest album, which did pretty well for them, and they were gonna do. They were like on the edge of announcing this tour, which would have been insane for so many reasons. And he's like, I think whoever is the first band to step back out on stage, he says it's just going to be the biggest roar that you ever hear in your life. And you're the perfect band to do that because like you're so positive collectively. I don't want to take those words from you, but like, what is your main message?
I mean, it's always sort of been rock and roll is supposed to be fun, and we want to have fun doing it. I mean, the sort of mantra we've always had, and this sort of goes back to a lot of people asking why we play sort of the style of music we play. Our thing has always been like, we want to make the music that we like and sort of hope other people like it as well. And I mean, that's kind of it. We, to have it come from an honest place, but also from a place where like, for us, rock and roll in our lives has played a part in whether that's an escape from a time in your life when maybe things aren't going super great to sort of like just a soundtrack to having a good time or whatever that is. Like it's that escape, and that's why we do. We love rock and roll music. We love the music we play. The music we make is sort of music that we'd like to listen to. It's not about making something to be successful, but instead making something that we enjoy and sharing that with other people. And I think that's the energy we want to put out during a show too. And that's what was incredible. I mean, that's why, those 4 shows at Lee's Palace in November of 2021 we recorded and filmed all of them because like this is going to be, the energy is going to be unprecedented, like along with everything else that sort of happened, from 2020 to present day. It's also is like this is a group of people that have not been to a show since 2020.
It's history, yeah.
And so and the energy was incredible, and you can hear it in this small rooms. It's like a 500 or 600 capacity venue, and we did the 4 nights, and every single night people are just going bananas, and the energy, and as a result, the energy, it's like reciprocal, and we're also giving that back as well, and so it was a really special time, and that's why we wanted to sort of capture that and sort of preserve that moment. So that's why we put out that live record, which was really, it was a cool experience. It's something that we didn't necessarily intend to do, but we kind of were like, oh, this is going to be crazy. Let's document this, and we were right. When afterwards we're like, this is amazing. So
I love too how you just so casual. It's like a I don't know, like a 500, 600 person venue, like whatever, no big deal. But think back. It was like 11, 12 years ago. Obviously, you had a bit of a break, landing the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, the first unsigned band to ever do that. So today, like, do you consider yourself a role model or role models for small town Canadian musicians?
I mean, I'd like to, I'm not going to throw that out there. I think our situation was very unique, and, it was a combination of being a band for, at that point we'd been a band for 7+ years, and then sort of got this really great opportunity. And so much of what we've done since then has been sort of like, we don't want to make this just a flash in the pan. We don't want to make this just like a overnight and one and done sort of situation. So everything we've done the last 12 years has really been, sort of proving it's not just a band that won a contest, not just a band that had this one opportunity, but one that continues on to do what we do. And so we've really set out to do that. As far as being a role model, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, about those kinds of things. And I mean, it would be amazing if something about us inspired someone. We actually just recently did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine as a retrospective, looking back from 10 years ago with the writer. But the interesting part is that the writer, who's now a regular contributor to Rolling Stone, read our cover story in Rolling Stone when he was a younger person, and that he said that article was one of the things that inspired him to pursue, continue pursuing journalism.
Wow.
And now he works for Rolling Stone magazine. So that's a pretty kind of like serendipitous type situation. But I mean, again, it's like, I think for us, it's like it's like anything. Like if I can encourage somebody to follow their passions and be successful in what they're passionate about based on the experiences we've had, that's awesome. But I'm not also sitting here being like, look at what I did. Try to do what I did, because I think that's super unrealistic. And I think, one of the things that I often will say to people is that, you should pursue things like music or things you're passionate about because you love them, but you shouldn't get to a point where you start to hate them because you can't, be successful. And I think that we're very fortunate that, before the Rolling Stone thing happened, we were still working 1, sometimes 2 jobs and coming back from tour broke and going out and doing, it wasn't all like amazing. And that really obviously changed our lives drastically. But I think that, I'm fortunate for that, but I think that it's a big thing to not like success to be the reason why you want to do something. And I think I try to tell people that when they're asking about advice on career advice, is like, we still love music and we still love doing what we're doing. And that would be the case regardless of the success. The success obviously, is something we don't take for granted. It's something that we wouldn't assume is going to be there forever. And that's why we, try to continue doing what we're doing and not reinventing things, but try to like mix things up, do things differently, and not just sort of be leaning on the laurels of one sort of success, but kind of continue to push ourselves forward in that way.
Yeah, that's just wild. I read that article too, by Garrett. What a cool name, first of all. Mm-hmm. I remember when you won the cover, I was actually working at a radio station in Lloydminster, so I was like straddling the border of Saskatchewan and Alberta, and I was just like, yeah, the home team, like we got to get this. So
It was a wild, wild, wild time. I mean, it's funny to look back on it now and in retrospect, but it was very amazing how much people, came out to support us and really helped us to do that, and it changed our lives, and we'll be sort of forever indebted and grateful for the opportunity, and feel very fortunate to still be doing what we're doing.
Oh yeah, and you're just like not an asshole, which is like congratulations, man, because doing this a decade plus, like to just have the drive, but also like have your head in the game and know what your priorities are. I mean, that's pretty righteous. So I one of my listeners in Ottawa, he says, Amy, since Ricky Paquette joined the Sheepdogs on this tour, it's been a game changer for their live shows. Can you comment on that?
Sure. Well, I mean, hometown boy, right? Yeah, no, it's been incredible. Ricky, it's funny because Ricky, when you're in the band, you get to do both the on stage and the off stage things. You get to get the full scope, and Ricky is as talented or as amazing off the stage as he is on the stage, and I think that really adds to that chemistry on the stage. He's honestly one of like the nicest, sweetest, most genuinely good people I've ever met in my entire life, and I'm just like sort of continually floored by how just positive and just amazing he is as a person, and then also similarly on stage every single night. I mean, he came into this situation where we needed somebody to step in on this massive North American tour that we've been on, and he, after like one rehearsal, came and just has been up for whatever ever since.
Yeah.
And so still sort of every night have these moments where he sort of will surprise you or whatever, because we're not like telling Ricky like, here's the notes to play this, do this. It's very much like what we do is very like open-ended, and we want to like let him shine through in his own way and not put him in a box or whatever. And no, it's been amazing. I mean, the first show that we did with him was at like a winery kind of by Port Dover in that part of Ontario. It was sort of like the first sort of kickoff show. It sort of made sense as the first show to have him jump on. And so there was like a moment in our set where we were kind of like, these two songs kind of go together. So like, just do a little something to segue, because you start the next song. So you finish this one song and then do a little something. And then cut to, he just like took this like insane sort of like impromptu solo piece where he just was soloing, and people were going like bananas in the crowd. And we were just all like looking at each other, like kind of, we like step back and let him do his thing, and we're just
like should we leave?
I mean, that was the whole thing. And so then it became this thing where we're like, I guess we have to leave because this is like kind of his moment. So he's really taken charge, but in a way, like sort of like you said, like he doesn't have an air about him where he's an asshole or he's has an attitude. Sometimes when people know that they have certain skills, they can be kind of like that. And he's the most unassuming, nicest guy, but then also will just bring it to a whole new level on stage. So no, it's been really amazing. I mean, it's pretty wild to go on like a 60+ date, run with somebody, committing to that.
Like, is this going to work? Yeah.
Yeah. And then being amazed. So yeah, it's been incredible. We feel very fortunate to have found him, and in a lot of ways he's sort of taken a time that was going to be really fun anyways and made it even more fun and even more enjoyable, both from like a personal perspective, but also from a I guess a professional perspective, like from a on stage perspective, where it's like, it's been amazing. So very much looking forward to it. For him coming back to Ottawa and being able to be on the big stage and
oh hell yeah. A Saturday night show too, like it's gonna get fun.
Oh yeah.
Really looking forward to that show at the National Arts Center, sizable venue. The brewery set prior to, that's going to be a little one. How did we sucker you into that, by the way?
Well, because you're so supportive. No, we do though. I mean, obviously that's a big thing for us. We really do appreciate. Again, and we don't take those stuff for granted. So like, happy to reciprocate and kind of give back to anyone that's helping us out, and why not do something fun for some lucky fans before the show, and and kind of do a little bit of a different thing for that. We're always happy to do those kinds of things. I mean, sometimes they're a little early and sometimes you're a little tired, but in this case, maybe not so bad. This show weirdly is like the last show of the tour is also 1 week removed from the other, the second last show. So we'll be nice and rested and ready to give it all in the afternoon and in the nighttime.
I love it. Ryan, thank you so much for talking to us. And I really just have one last question, and it's super easy. What song do you want to hear on Shea 106?
Oh God, that's. Do I have to pick from?
You can pick really any. You know what? Why don't you tell me one of your songs, but also just like whatever rock and roll tune. As soon as you hear it, it makes you feel really good.
How about "Fortunate Son" by ECR? That's a good. I feel like I listen to a lot of radio in the car. That's a good driving song. That's a good feel-good driving song. Why don't we go with that?
And what is maybe one of your favorite tunes to play in front of the live audience?
I think one of my favorite ones to play live would be "Nobody." That's a fun one. That's when we get nice and loose, and lots of solo and stuff like that. But that's a feel-good song too.
Thank you so much again, and I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Just travel safe and stay healthy. And Ottawa is going to be really stoked when you come to town.
Amazing. Thanks so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for doing the interview.